This is Mistress Sweet Pea, and welcome to another edition of my podcast. I said that rather fast. So, this is a very different podcast this evening. We're going to talk about something completely different. And no, it's not tech yet. We will get to the tech topics soon. This is more finance and a concept that I was reading about, and I've been reading about for the past couple of days now. Quite interesting. I figured I'd do a podcast. Some people may know about this, but some people may not. You don't have to be a finance wizard to figure it out. It's really common sense, and I'm not good at math, so for me to be able to figure it out, that means pretty much everyone can figure it out. Because I will admit I'm not good with math, but on that note, we're going to talk about something different. But before we do that, I just want everyone to just kind of, wherever you are listening, just breathe, relax, crack your neck like I do all the time. Just take it easy, relax, just unwind, grab a cup of coffee, soda, water, whatever. Let's just enjoy the time together and let's have fun. And what's more fun than talking about finance? Anyways, on that note, we'll go ahead and get started. So before we do that, I do want to give a shout out to everyone, everywhere, wherever you're listening in from, what country you're in. Just want to say hi to everyone, and you all are beautiful people. And just remember that. Don't let anyone tell you different. And on that note, let's start our podcast. Our podcast, I should say. So, today we're going to talk about the Rule of 72. So you're probably like scratching your head saying, what's the Rule of 72? So imagine for a minute, let's just close your eyes or however you do it, get comfy in your chair. Just imagine if you have a team that gets just 3% better every year. Again, a team that gets 3% better every year. Not a big leap, nothing flashy or outrageous, just a tiny bit more efficient. 3% every year gets better. Which is 3% is tiny. It sounds kind of boring to some people. You're probably looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about? And I will explain more about it. And I highly recommend researching this because this is actually an interesting topic. And it's weird because when I went to business school, I have a bachelor's degree in business management and I have an MBA as well. In both degree courses, they never talked about this Rule of 72, which I found kind of weird because it's a finance term, I should say. So anyways, we'll go over it. So here's the twist. So going back to what I said, imagine a team that gets better 3% every year. So when it gets better 3% every year, it means it gets more efficient every year. 3% efficient every year. But here's a little twist to that. That little 3% adds up. So let's say in about 24 years, your team's ability would double. So then at 6%, it doubles in 12 years. At 12%, it doubles in just 6 years. So basically, it's like a time machine for growth is how to explain the Rule of 72, I guess. So again, it's a simple trick to help you figure out how fast you want anything to grow. So let's say you've got money in a savings account, CD, IRA, wherever, and you want your money to double. We all do. This Rule of 72 is a trick that can help make that happen. Again, I do want to put out there as a disclaimer, I am not saying that by using this method you're going to be rich. This is just a simple term. I'm going to explain it to you guys, but I do want to put a disclaimer out there. I'm not saying that you will get rich with this tool, this Rule of 72. It's a common term. It's been out there for a long time, and it's just kind of a little bit annoying that when I went to business school, they never even mentioned this concept. So it's a little concerning. So anyways, let's go ahead and move forward. So what is the Rule of 72? So the Rule of 72 is a shortcut. If something grows by a steady percentage each year, you can guess how long it will take to double by dividing 72 by that, to double by dividing 72 by that percentage. So let's say, for example, I wish I had a whiteboard, but I don't. So let's say, for example, you have an investment that has 6% growth. So you take the 72 and divide it by 6, that's 12 years it'll take to double. So that's pretty much the gist of it. It's a formula that's properly used to estimate the number of years required to double your investment at any given annual rate of return. So basically, if you can compute the annual rate of a compound return from an investment, given how many years it will take to double your investment. So, and again, I know you can even use, I think, Google Worksheets or Microsoft Excel. It does give you that option as well to calculate this. So again, going back to my description earlier, 6% growth, you take the 72%, which is 72 from the rule of 72, you divide it by 12 years, divided by 6, I'm sorry. So you take the 6% divided by 12, so you take the 7, so if you want, I'm sorry, let's start over, right? So if you want 6% growth on your return. So using the rule of 72, you take 72 divided by 6, and that's 12. So it will take 12 years for your investment to double. Now, let's look at that's 6% growth. Let's look at 2%. So again, if you have 2% growth, if you take the 72 divided by 2, it's going to take you 36 years to double your investment. So the higher the growth, the less time it will take to double your investment. Again, it's not a perfect science, but for most everyday growth rates, it's close enough. It's a close enough method to use. But why 72? That's what I couldn't figure out. When I heard about this concept, I'm like, why 72? What's so special about the number 72? Well, it's the math behind it is a little bit fancy, but 72 is easy to divide by lots of numbers, like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think 9 and 12. So basically 72, is easy to divide by with lots of numbers. So it's basically a nice mental tool to think about. But with math, I have to write it down because there's no way I'm going to remember that. And it has nothing to do with my age. So anyways, classic example. Let's use another example. So if your money grows at 8% a year, it doubles in about 9 years. So you take, again, 72%, the rule of 72, divided by 8, and that's 9. So that's how investors check how fast their savings grow. So if you're an investor out there, I know a lot of people are, and if you're not, that's fine. But this is a good tool to use if you're not an investor, so you can start investing. And again, I'm putting the disclaimer, I'm going to do it throughout this podcast. This is not a way to make money. I'm not telling you that you will get rich or you will lose money. I'm not doing that. I'm just giving you a tool to use if you want to double your investment. And again, if you go to a bank, they will mention, some bankers do know about this rule, some don't. So again, I'm putting that disclaimer out there. Anyways, I digressed again. But again, this isn't just about money. It's about anything you want to grow. Like whether it's data output or stress levels. Like for example, the one that I mentioned in the beginning about efficiency. So let's say you have a team that gets 3% better every year. 3% is not a whole lot in this aspect, but to be 3% efficient every year, that's pretty good. So again, it depends on what context you're using the rule of 72. If you're using it for money, that will tell you how many years it will take to double your investment. For growth, for anything, stress levels, your team, your data, this rule of 72 is a great concept to remember. So carrying on with this, so the rule of 72 can be applied to anything that increases exponentially, such as like gross domestic product or GDP, inflation, but it can also indicate the long-term effect of annual fees on an investment's growth. So this estimation tool can be used for, again, pretty much anything, but anything like that you're trying to calculate or to figure out. But again, just you have to remember, it's a tool. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's not going to happen. So, so from finance to technology, if this works for money, what happens if we use it for tech? See? For those people who were wondering why I didn't do a podcast on tech, I always will try to find a way to get tech involved somehow. And I am on this podcast. So thank you for checking in. So tech doesn't grow in straight lines. So it grows in steps. You have to build upon each other. Just like with interest compounds. It builds upon each other. So for example, a 5% improvement in computer power or artificial intelligence accuracy might not feel like much in a year, but given the course of 10 years, those little gains will add up a lot. So again, if it works for money, what about tech? And that's how, because again, I'll rephrase that. I'll go over it again. So basically, when it comes to tech does not grow in a straight line. It's not. It basically, you build upon it. It grows in steps, and then you build upon that, and then you build upon that, and you build upon it, just like you do with compound interest at a bank or an investment. So again, a 5% improvement in computer power or artificial intelligence accuracy might not feel like much in a year, but over 10 years, those little gains will add up exponentially. Storage gets cheaper, bandwidth gets faster, cloud costs go down. Each year, the possibilities grow. So those are some things to take in mind when it comes to tech. So let's try the rule on 72 on tech. So if your artificial or AI, artificial intelligence team gets 12% better each year, their output doubles in 6 years. Again, 72 divided by 12 is 6. So again, if your AI team gets 12% better each year, their output will double in 6 years. And if your data grows 25% a year, your storage needs doubles in about 3 years. So you take the 72 divided by 25, and that will give you 3 years. But compounding is also a two-way street. The good stuff doubles, but so can the bad stuff, like the cost, risk, complexities. So if your security problem grows 15% a year, it'll probably double in about 5 years unless you fix them. So just some stuff to keep in mind. And again, I recommend definitely reading. If you like finance, I like finance. I'm just not math savvy, but I like to read, and I love to read. I love to learn new things, and this is something I never even knew existed. But I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna see what happens. I'm sure it'll work out, but I'm gonna try it. So now let's move on to another topic, basically Moore's Law. So I'm not sure if anyone knows what that is. I didn't until just about a couple of days ago. So Moore's Law basically says computer chips become twice as powerful every 2 years. So that's a crazy fast double in time. Computer chips get twice as powerful every 2 years. That's impressive. That's really impressive. So when tech doubles this fast, the new ideas make it possible overnight. So what was too expensive or too slow last year might be cheap and easy this year. It's like think of it as a computer. So let's say you buy a laptop. You bought a Windows or Dell laptop like 5 years ago. That laptop or desktop is considered obsolete or outdated and too slow. It's too expensive to repair if you need to repair it. And most tech people will just say, hey, go get a new one. It's because the amount of money that you invest to fix the 5-year-old computer, you might as well put that money and get a new one. And that's what I usually tell people, depending on the situation. So, I digressed again. So that's basically what it is. So and then in this instance, so new ideas become possible overnight. And as we're talking right now live, there are people out there, there are creators out there creating new technology every day. Like there's probably someone right now creating something that we're probably either going to wear or use the next year or two or 10 years from now. Now, on another note, artificial intelligence or AI is similar in this fashion. Like models, data, computing power keep growing fast so that AI can so what AI does is that it doubles every few years. So meanwhile, rules, laws, and how people think usually change much slower. Maybe sometimes doubling every 14 to 30 years. But that gap creates tension. Tech races ahead, but rules lag behind. Remember that. Tech races ahead, but the rules lag behind. So, something to keep in mind. Now, using the rule of 72 for strategy. So we're going to do this a little, we'll make this a little easier, as easy as I can. So, let's see. So if you use a base growth at 18% a year, it doubles in 4 years. Again, 72 divided by 18 is 4. Is your tech ready for twice as many users? Think about that. So if cloud costs drop 10% a year, your cost halves every 7 years. So maybe you should wait a few years before you launch that expensive feature. So there's all these strategies to consider, and this is why the rule of 72, it can be used for anything. I mean, you could have the most complex problem out there, and using the rule of 72, it's like, oh, okay, I didn't think that. Now I know. So with the rule of 72, there's also, it's not just for companies, it works for everyone, even in your own personal life. So let's say, for example, you get 5% better at your job every year. You double your skills in about 14 years. That's just one paper a week, one project a month, and one new skill every quarter. Imagine that. Just stop and think of that. So if you get 5% better at your job every year, you double your skills in about 14 years. That's just one paper a week, one project a month, and one new skill every quarter. So there's also a 72 rule for action. If you don't try something new within 72 hours, you probably won't do it at all. So that's the other thing. So if you want to do something, if you don't do it within let's say I come up with an idea that I want to, I don't know, let's say I want to create a watch that people can use for, I don't know, whatever. Let's just say let's say for simplicity purposes, let's say I want to create a widget. So let's say I say to myself, okay, I'm going to create a widget, and I'm very specific. I know exactly what I want to create, but then what happens is that nothing happens. 72-hour rule. If you don't try it new, if you don't do something or try something new within 72 hours, you probably won't do it at all. So if I think of this widget that I want to create, if I don't take action on it within 72 hours, I'm probably not going to do it. And some people say, oh, no, that's not true. It's true. It is. Because you think about it, you have all the plans and the initiative and drive to do it, and then it's like, 72-hour rule. If you don't try something new, it's not going to work. So here's a challenge I pose to everyone out there. In the next 72 hours, pick one thing that's growing in your life. It can be anything, like your cost, risk, opportunity, whatever. Use the rule of 72 to guess when it'll double, and think of one small step that you can do to change that. When you do that, I would like it if you could please email me, or you could text me, whichever is easier. I'd like to know how it went. I'd like to know how it turned out for you. So it's elizas.prodigy@gmail.com. ELIZAS PRODIGY at gmail.com. Or you could text at 802-636-7859. I would like to know how it went for you. I'd be very curious. Now, I also want to talk about the dark side of this. So, which to some, basically with AI, the good and the bad both grow fast. If risks are like, if risks such as privacy concerns grow 20% a year, for example, they double in less than 4 years. Rules and safeguards don't often keep up with each other. That's why you can't wait to fix problems. If something is risky, if something's growing that's risky, you have to slow it down early. So again, even whether it doesn't have to be for with a company, it can be in your personal life. So rules, you can't wait to fix problems. If there's a problem, you've got to fix it, because if you don't, it's going to get out of hand, and then who knows what can happen at that point. And again, just to reiterate, the rule of 72, I'm putting out my disclaimer again. I'm sorry, guys. I have to do it because I have to make sure people know. I'm not trying to tell you how to get rich. I'm not telling you that the rule of 72 will make you rich. It's a tool to help with your life, with your business, with anything. And it's not always about finance. So I just want to put it out there. So career growth, the rule of 72 also can work with career growths. So let's say if you improve your skills by 5% a year, you double your capacity in about 14 years. Again, 72 divided by 15. It does come out with like a 14.45, or 14.4, and you can round up or round down, however you prefer. But in fast-moving fields like artificial intelligence or cybersecurity, the skills you learn today could become obsolete in a few years from now. So me, as a mistress of tech, which I love to call myself, I love technology and I love everything about it. But what I've learned last year is probably going to be obsolete next year or the year after. So if you want to stay in the tech industry like I do, you have to keep abreast of everything new that's going on. New changes, new technology, new cybersecurity measures. You have to stay ahead of it so you don't fall behind, because once you fall behind, it is hard to catch up, and you probably won't. And I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy. I'm being realistic. I'm being a realist. You have to. AI and technology is a fast-moving field. Every year, you're always going to learn something new. And I just want to put that out there so everyone realizes that, you have to keep up with the times, as they say. So some other key benefits about using the rule of 72, again, compounding interest with investments. It can also give you a quick financial snapshot, seeing how your money can double, or how your investment performs and how long it will take to double. It also brings inflation awareness. It shows how quickly inflation costs and how quickly inflation can cut into your budget and your buying power. Debt management, like with credit card debt. How fast is it going to take for you to pay down or pay off your credit cards? It also helps with goal setting. So it helps you set realistic goals that you can obtain, like retirement. Retirement's a good thing for most people, to figure out how you're going to make sure that you're comfortable for retirement. So, and then a few key notes I do want to end with this podcast, I want to let people know is to keep in mind the rule of 72, it's an estimate. It's not a precise figure. And it works best with, I shouldn't say it works best with anything, but it's not a precise figure. I mean, it's an estimate. It's what it's meant for. It doesn't mean that, okay, if it says that your investment will double in 2 years, it doesn't mean at the end of 2 years, oh my gosh, my investment didn't double. I'm mad now. I'm really upset. It's not precise. It's an estimate. There are other factors involved. And again, not just with finance, with anything. You also want to assume a constant rate of return, which always isn't realistic, especially with the stock market. You also have to factor in taxes, fees, real world variables that affect actual returns. So there's a lot of other stuff you have to consider. And on that note, I want to close out this session for tonight. I really appreciate everyone for listening. I know it's finances are a little, you know, they're good and they're bad, but the rule of 72 again is not just for finances. It can be used in your personal life. I use it for my personal life. I use it for many things. I even use it for my job, and I love it. I started using it, and so far I I feel more confident. And again, but I know that these are estimates and they're not a guarantee. So as long as you know that, you'll be fine. So on that note, I do want to thank everyone for checking in. I hope everyone has a great evening. Peace and love to everyone, and please be kind and gentle to each other. On that note, have a good night.